Hey everybody, how you doing? Tekking101 here. This outfit has absolutely nothing to do with this topic I'm going to be discussing. I'm just seeing Crimes of the Grindelwald later tonight, and I'm really excited for it. But anyway, it doesn't matter. That's not important right now. What is important is the last chapter of One Piece. Boatloads of stuff to unpack from this. Copious amounts of stuff. I mean, Oda did deliver, did he not? I mean, he just dumped a bunch of stuff at my doorstep and is like, okay, have fun making videos about all this stuff. Oh man, I can make a video about the calamities, videos about Blackbeard, videos about the new devil fruits that the Blackbeard pirates have, the mythical dog fruit model nine-tailed fox, Shiryu having the Suke no Mi, which that actually turned out to work in my favor because last month in October, I wanted to do videos on each of the Mysterious Four's devil fruits. So I did a video about the Horo no Mi, Perona's fruit. I did a video on the Kage no Mi, Moria's fruit. I planned on doing one on the Suke no Mi, which was Absalom's, but I just fell by the wayside. I didn't have time to do it. Kind of glad I didn't now, because now I can talk about how Shiryu could utilize that ability. So yeah, before we get to all of that, that's sort of like the heavy stuff, I wanted to discuss something that wasn't necessarily the focus of the last chapter. It was kind of, you know, like a one-off comment by Mihawk that really queued up my interest, and the idea of it has been around for a while, the dismantling of the Warlord system. So I thought it would be a good idea just to talk about, okay, what would happen if the Warlord system was just, not destroyed exactly, but dismantled, so it's no longer in effect. The world government decides it's not worth it anymore, and all of the Warlords just go back to being regular pirates, okay? I thought that would be a good idea for a discussion. So, in the last chapter, there was the scene where Perona was reading the paper about Moria, and she's like, oh, Master Moria is alive, I have to go out there and find him. So she leaves Muggy Kingdom, where she was staying with Mihawk. It's Mihawk's island. Well, technically, Mihawk doesn't own the island. Technically, Mihawk is kind of just squatting there, but he's Mihawk, so you don't question it. But as she's leaving, they have a cute little back and forth where Mihawk's like, be careful now, and Perona kind of dials up the tsundere meter a little bit, and she's like, Baka, don't tell me to be careful. So whatever, she leaves. But the weird thing is that Mihawk was, he was reading the rest of the paper, what's going on in Revery and everything, and he was like, this might be the best time to leave this island because of the happenings at Revery. Now, I didn't really understand what he meant at first. I thought maybe he was implying that he was going to leave the island too. Like, okay, Perona's leaving, maybe I should head out too. But later on, I did a live stream last night, and some people threw out the ideas like, maybe what Mihawk was alluding to was if the Warlord system gets dismantled and abolished, then he's not going to be safe on his island anymore, so he should maybe head out to the seas. Because the whole idea of the Warlord system to begin with is you get the pirates that are really strong, that will play nice with the world government, and you use them as a deterrent against other pirates. That was the whole idea. Privateers. Okay, we're going to get some of the roughest, toughest members of the Salty Spittoon this side of the Grand Line, and we're going to get them together, and we're going to make them work for us. And if we can get them to play ball, then they might actually deter other pirates from starting shit. Because, oh man, there's this great pirate in the world. He's really strong. His name is Crocodile. And then all of a sudden, he's working for the world government now? Oh, we better not mess with the world government. They got that strong-ass pirate. Oh, you mean Mihawk's working for them now too? Oh, Doflamingo? Oh, I'm not touching the world government now with the heavy hitters they got. That's the general idea. The one problem with this system, though, is that, it's ripe for abuse, and it doesn't work very well. Okay, look, so before we get into what it would be for each of the individual warlords if the system was just dismantled, let's talk a little bit about public opinion on the warlords. Now, the world government is a little bit more totalitarian than, governments in our world, particularly because it is in fact a world government, that's unified most of the kingdoms in One Piece. Not every single one is allied with the world government, but it's a lot. I think Spondum mentioned it was like over 170 nations or some such, so it's not called the world government for nothing. It doesn't own 100% of the world, but it's trying. The point here is that they don't really need to care too much about public opinion of them, because it's not like the private citizens of the One Piece world are going to be able to do anything. It's not like, oh, we're going to re-elect the Gorosei this year. They don't have any power here. But suffice it to say, the world government does want the citizens to be on their side. That just makes everything run a little bit more smooth when you're not having an entire, public outcry like, down with the WG! Down with the WG! You don't want that going on at your doorstep, so it's probably good that the world government and the, kind of at least tries to placate the citizens to make them seem to be the good guys. If the world government really wanted to, they could come out and be like, we control everything, we could go wherever we want, we can do anything we want. You guys probably already kind of got an idea we could do that, but just to let you know, the kids' gloves are off now. We're not going to try to be playing nice with you all. We're just going to, rule over you with an iron fist. They could do that if they wanted to, but I think it's best to have the public on their side. So, I could see the public opinion of the warlords declining in the past few years. Maybe for a while there, the public was with it, because we don't really know how long the warlords have been in power. The most that we have to go off of here is during the 3D2Y OVA, when Burn D World got freed from Impel Down, one of his minions, one of his little shoulder buddies. It was just like, oh yes, the warlord system, and Burn D World had no idea what that was, and he's like, what the hell's the warlord system? And so I think it was stated it came into existence sometime within the last 30 years, so it's a relatively new thing. There are certainly people still alive in the One Piece world that have, seen a world without the warlord system. It's not like it's been around since the Void Century, right? So I could see maybe when they started this system, it worked for a long time. You had a lot of heavy hitters, maybe every now and then, every, 10 years or so, maybe one of them would drop out, you'd add a new one in or whatever. But certainly in the last few years, we've had some major problems with the warlord system. Crocodile turned out to be the leader of an underground crime syndicate, basically, so he was abusing the system big time, so he got busted. But not only that, immediately after that, who did they replace Crocodile with? Blackbeard, who is actually worse than Crocodile, because he didn't just abuse the system to run his own little crime syndicate, he abused the system to gain access to government facilities, Impel Down and Marineford, and then he managed to take that opportunity to wreck everybody's collective shit, take out one of the Yonko, steal his devil fruit, something that's unprecedented, and then skips out pretty much unscathed. I wonder if they did a little bit of a public poll. Like, how do you feel about the warlord system now? Not only that, but also Jinbei. Jinbei decided to step down at Marineford as well from the warlords. You had everything with Moria, although I think they tried to cover up the shit with Moria as much as possible, because keep in mind, all of this stuff happened within a few months time frame. From the time Luffy took out Crocodile, Blackbeard replaces Crocodile, Luffy defeats Moria, Blackbeard usurps his position in order to, Blackbeard uses his position, not usurps, he uses his position to do everything at Marineford to, basically claim the powers of the Gura Gura no Mi, and Jinbei defecting. All of that stuff happens within just, I don't know, within 6 months, probably less than that, not very much of a time gap here. So after all of this happened, after Marineford, the world government was pretty much like, oh shit, wow. And after that, they tried to take out Moria, probably because they decided, okay, Moria, you're way too weak, we can't have you around anymore, because you're probably, if we just let you go back to your island, you'll probably get defeated again, and next time we might be able not to cover it up, so we're just gonna take you out and steal your devil fruit. That's why they sent Dofi to go take him out, but it didn't work out so well. So after the events of Marineford, the Warlord, probably not a great status, and probably not a lot of people didn't really care for it at that point, but they did start to build back up. They're like, all right. We lost Jinbei, we lost Blackbeard, we lost Crocodile, and we lost Moria, but we can maybe make this work. So, over the course of the 2-year time skip, they build up their ranks again. They get Law, they get Weevil, and they get Buggy on board, along with Hancock and Mihawk and Kuma and Doflamingo that were already still parts of the Warlord. They get the 7 Warlords back together. Everything seems to be going good. Until the Doflamingo shit happens. And at that point, you gotta know the general public was because that was not covered up at all. That was the whole point at the end of that arc. Everybody found out about it firsthand. They were making announcements to the other islands of Dressrosa exactly what happened with Doflamingo, all the shit he was doing, and that Luffy was the one that took him out, and Fujitora doing the public prostration. That was the whole point there. Back at Alabasta, they kind of spun it so that, alright, we can't hide everything that Crocodile Crocodile did. The general public is going to find out what Crocodile did. But we can at least shift who captured Crocodile from Luffy, who's a pirate, to Smoker. So we can at least do that. But at Dressrosa, they couldn't hide this at all. So the general public found out exactly what freaking went down on Dressrosa. So I can imagine them reading the paper like, again? So you mean to tell me the exact same thing with Crocodile, pretty much running an underground crime syndicate, ruling over an entire kingdom with an iron fist? Pretty much the exact same thing happened, and it was a warlord both times. They're probably not fans of the Warlord system anymore, guys, and that might actually be one of the things that Fujitora might bring up. Fujitora, he's not a fan of it either. He gets up there at Revery. We're skipping a few days at Revery here, because we had the first day of Revery where everybody was gathered together, and then we skip now to, like, the 4th day, where I guess it would actually maybe be the 5th day, because Blackbeard's reading the paper talking about what occurred on the 4th day. The Revolutionary Army commanders fighting against Fujitora and Greenbull, right? So we're way into Reverie now. We're probably going to get a flashback at some point, all of the stuff that happened at Reverie, because it's running in tandem with Wano right now. But when Fujitora made his claim, like, I think we need to abolish the system, that was probably one of the things he brought up. Like, guys, listen, Crocodile, Doflamingo, those were 2 huge examples. Blackbeard was another huge example of them abusing their power. It's not working. We can't trust pirates. Maybe some of them will play along as much as possible. But hey, look at it this way. Fujitora might bring up this. He's like, even the ones that do kind of play by the rules are still not easy to work with. Hancock kind of does her own thing. She doesn't run an underground crime syndicate or anything, but she's very difficult to work with. She won't listen to us. What's the point of even having her on the payroll, you know? So Fujitora might get up there and do this really big impassioned speech or something, and the members of Reverie, the kings and the queens, they're all sitting around there, and they kind of speak for their people. Some of them are probably like Wapple, and they don't care about their people. They don't give a shit about what their public thinks of them. But some of them, like Cobra and King Riku, they all care about their citizens. You know, they're not cruel dictators. So they'll probably all take that into account. They'll probably take it like, yeah, you know what? The Warlord system is not really that popular in our kingdom either, especially not in Dressrosa or freaking Alabasta, what happened there. So I can see them getting some, you know, speed there for dismantling it. It's something that just don't think it won't happen. I think it's fair to say that it has a good shot of happening. So with that being said, let's go through each of the warlords right now that are in current good status with the world government. Of course, Doflamingo is currently rotting at level 6, although he might not be rotting at level 6 for very long because they sent an assassin to go down there, and Magellan is there too, so I hope Oda focuses on that at some point. But needless to say, Doflamingo's already been, the status has already been taken away from him. Crocodile is somewhere in the New World. We don't know what he's up to. Maybe he's with the Revolutionary Army? I didn't say anything. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But obviously he doesn't care anymore. Jinbei is no longer a warlord. He's, well, technically we don't know where he's at right now. But if the sky gods are kind, I'm looking at you, Eneru. He should be en route to Wano right about now. Like any time now, Jinbei. But obviously they don't really care too much. So the ones that are currently in good standing, we have Kuma, who doesn't really count because he's a machine, so he doesn't really care. Consider it this. He's already a warlord, but he's being used as a pack mule and personal steed for the Celestial Dragons anyway. And he apparently, if he's the PX0 now and he has really no traces of his former morality or who he really was, I like to think Vegapunk might have programmed, like, some, like, you know, in certain situations, maybe he can access his former memory or personality. I like to think Vegapunk did something like that, but if he really is just an unthinking, uncaring machine, then it doesn't really matter whether or not the Warlord system is there or not. Even if the Warlord system is abolished, they're still going to use Kuma as a, you know, as a slave person, unless the Revolutionary Army managed to rescue him. We still don't know what happened with that. We knew they fought back, but we don't know what happened. You know, if they won, if they managed to get Kuma and get him out of there, or we're gonna reprogram him for justice. You know, I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but you know, either way, Kuma really wouldn't care about the, you know, the Warlord system. Okay, so with that being said, with Kuma, let's move on to Mihawk now. Okay, so Mihawk, I usually describe him as chaotic neutral, if we're gonna use a D&D alignment term here. He doesn't really care about slicing people down. He has no qualms about killing people if they annoy him or they get in his way. He's really all about just doing what he wants to do. Alright, so if he wants to go somewhere, nothing in the world is going to stop him from point A to point B. If you get in his way, he'll slice your ship in half and you'll all drown in the water. He doesn't care. He'll keep on sailing. Or if one of you gets away, he might be like, that one ship is sailing away. I got nothing else better to do. And I guess I'll follow them and see what's going on. Does what he wants to do, really doesn't care about having a crew of his own, doesn't care about running an underground crime syndicate. That's not really Mihawk's style, alright? He usually just he's perfectly content, honestly, just chilling out in his castle, having a nice cup of wine or sangria, and just training with his sword, and that's really all he wants. Every now and then something might pique his interest, like the war at Marineford. He got an invite for that. And I've said before, like, if Mihawk really did not want to go to the war, he wouldn't have. He just wouldn't have. He would have stayed on his island, and anyone that came to try to bring him, he would have cut him down. That's how he rolls. He's like, because he probably only became a warlord because it tickled his fancy, and he's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll become a warlord. At least that way I'll be able to sail around the seas without the Marines constantly shooting cannonballs at me. And I mean, it doesn't matter either way. They're not going to take me down, but I guess it would be easier to not have that on my back constantly. But some people have brought up, hey, if the warlord system's abolished, they know where Mihawk's at. He's on his island at Muggy Kingdom. Wouldn't the Marines send a battleship or two and be like, Hawkeye Mihawk, you are now nothing more than a dirty pirate. I am Captain Bombastic, and I am here to bring you in. And then Mihawk proceeds to slice them all up. A Captain Bombastic, no! He's like, ugh, I'm gonna have a lot more of these assholes at my front door now. Human drills, pick up arms. No one will dare to bother me during my afternoon wine, or my evening wine, or my mid-afternoon wine, or God help them if they interrupt me during my midnight wine. Mihawk drinks a lot of wine. But my point is that I don't think they would do that. I don't think the Marines would be that stupid. And also, it just seems like a waste of their resources, okay? Everything that they have to be focusing on right now has to be in the New World. To put it in another way, any Marine officer that would be strong enough to contend with Mihawk and possibly bring him in would be an admiral. Or maybe if you got, like, a bunch of the vice admirals together, and I'm talking like a lot of them. If you got Momonga and Onigumo and Stainless and maybe one of two of the Giant Squad like LaCroix or Ronsei, and you got all the really big heavy hitter vice admirals, maybe with Garp included in that roster, okay, maybe then you can bring them in. But it's like, there's still going to be people that are going to lose a limb or two, and it's like, couldn't you... Mihawk, I could see him honestly slicing Marines down and be like, isn't there something better you could be doing with your time right now than fighting me? I mean, yeah, the warlord system's abolished, I am nothing more than a pirate, but dude, seriously, Yonko, Straw Hat Luffy, all the crap that's going on in the New World right now, and you're wasting your ass on me? I was sitting in my castle 5 minutes ago, having a nice cup of wine and reading the paper, sitting by the fire, just enjoying my evening, and you assholes started to knock on my front door. I'm not even bothering anybody. So, I don't think Mihawk would be in serious danger there. It might excite him, though. It might be like, oh, the warlord system is abolished, then. Maybe I should get out there in the world and see what's going on. Maybe I'll get a good fight now, or something like that. Because Mihawk's always searching for the greatest, he's searching for his rival, because ever since Shanks lost an arm, he doesn't really feel like he is a worthy rival anymore because he would be handicapped. I mean, that's what he says. I don't know, because Shanks is still pretty adept with a sword. My point is, though, now, maybe Mihawk would leave to pursue the Marines, because he's no longer a warlord. Maybe he's hoping the Marines might come after him. Maybe he's hoping Momonga, or Onigumo, or Fujitora, or another swordsman in the Marines might come after him, and he would have a worthy opponent. Maybe something like that. But I don't think Mihawk is... I don't think he has to worry about it too much. Even if the system is taken away, I could see him just chilling out on his island. Maybe he might leave and go somewhere. I hope he does. I hope he gets back out there in the world. But I don't think the Marines would immediately send their units to take him down, because they know it's not going to happen unless they send an admiral or somebody that's even about that at level. It's not going to happen, right? Okay, so now let's talk about Hancock. Shot of her boobs just to get us warmed up. Okay, so Hancock would actually be one of the ones that would really have it hard if the warlord system was taken away, because that's the whole point that her island is protected. Amazon Lily is located in the Calm Belt, so normally not a lot of ships go there. Even the marine ships, up until recently, didn't really bother them all too much. It served as a natural barrier. But now that you have Vegapunk and you have the Sea Prism Stone lining technology, the Marines can get there with relatively no problems. As long as there's like a strong enough, member of the crew on board, like Momonga. Momonga was there slicing down Sea Kings that attack them, because Sea Kings still attack you. It's not a guarantee you're going to be invisible. If you linger in the water too long, even with the ships lined with Sea Prism Stone, the Sea Kings might pop out of the water and be like, oh, what the hell is that? So you have to still have a strong enough, member of the Marines to be there, but they can get to Amazon Lily with really no problems, and they could easily dispatch a group of battleships there. So I could see that definitely. If the warlords were abolished, one of their first targets were like, okay, freaking Hancock, who's always disobeying our orders, freaking Hancock that has an entire island of nothing but pirates, we've let this go on for way too long. They would probably send a few units out that way, and Hancock is not as strong as Mihawk in that situation. And other than that, not even going in terms of strength, the Kuja pirates are an active pirate crew. They do go out there in the world and attack other ships. Mihawk usually doesn't do that unless you piss him off or you get in his way. Alright, Mihawk's not like, I will go out and pillage today. Not really. Kuja pirates, they have to do that because they have to keep supplies coming to their island. So they could see that as a real threat, alright? And if we have the exact same scenario, if they send like 5 or 6 vice admirals at Boa Hancock's direction, the Kujas are really strong warriors. Hancock's no slouch. She's got Conqueror's hockey. But I don't see her maybe taking on that so easily. They might have to abandon their island, and that's like their ancestral homeland. Might not end too well. Or we could see a badass fight between the Kuja and the Marines, and if the Kuja win, we're like, yes! We succeed this day! But when is how long until the next time they send a bigger fleet with more people? You know, the government has no shortage of battleships, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, if they really wanted to, they could just surround Amazon Lily, because Amazon Lily is very primitive. I mean, they have their one pirate ship with the giant Kuja snakes that are poisonous, but they really have very little in terms of, like, artillery. So if the Marines want to just buster call the shit out of Amazon Lily, they could do that, and there's really nothing that they could do to stop it. They don't really have any, like, protection against that kind of destruction. I could see that going down. I could see them all lining, like, don't even try to bother. Don't even try to land on the island, because the Kuja are just going to come at us with, like, bows and arrows, and they know hockey, and Hancock's there. Don't even bother. Just surround the island and blow it out of the freaking water, and then we don't have to worry about them anymore. Now, in that situation, that would be, I could see Hancock getting away with Marigold and Sanderzonia and maybe a few other Kuja pirates. I could see a lot of the other ones getting trapped there on the island, and this would be like post-traumatic stress disorder for freaking Hancock and her sisters, witnessing the island burn down. And the same thing that happened at Marijois, and they were escaped like, not again! This isn't really that much out there. Like, you could see this happening. You totally could. This isn't even that much in my headcanon, right? So, yeah, she's probably the one warlord that would be the most devastated by it. Oh, wait, no. That might be Buggy. Okay, so I feel so bad for Buggy if this were to happen, if the warlord system were to be taken away. Because Buggy, this is the most powerful he's ever been his entire freaking life. His whole life. He's a cabin boy on Roger's crew. He's one of the weakest members of the whole crew. You know, Shanks is constantly outshining him. And then after that, he becomes a lackluster kind of mid-rank pirate in the East Blue, which is the weakest of the 4 oceans. Which, by the way, discussion video on the 4 Blues. Damn straight discussion video series on the 4 Blues. But yeah, like, he's going through crap his entire life. He tries to find Captain John's treasure. He gets captured by the Marines by accident, gets thrown and impaled down. All the crap he goes through there, finally manages to get out, gets thrown into a war at Marineford, manages to escape from that, and then after all of that bullshit, he gets Captain John's treasure band from Luffy. He manages to escape not just alive, but also with an entire crew of prisoners from Impel Down that are his loyal followers that basically view him as the freaking messiah with a clown nose. Oink, oink. And now he rules over an entire island as a royal shikabukai. Shikabukai. You know what's really upsetting? I have been a fan of One Piece for a long time, and I still cannot pronounce the Japanese term for the 7 warlords. I know as soon as I say that, everybody and their mother is going to comment the enunciation of it in the comments below, but it's very difficult for me, so I always usually just say Shikebukai, whatever. Is that close? I hope that's close. But yeah, so he's at the highest he's ever been right now for the last 2 years. Probably both figuratively and metaphorically, because he gets some pretty good koosh on that. Kalibali Island has fields aplenty, he's like, I'm king of the world, bitches! So anyway, they take away the warlord status. I want you to picture Buggy's face when he reads that letter. Or he reads that in the news. Warlord system officially abolished. And his face just cracks right there. Because look at it like this. Imagine you work for this huge company, this giant company in New York City, this huge skyscraper, but you work in like the mailroom, in the basement for like barely above minimum wage. And it's just grunt work. And you're just like, and then you work in that position for 10 years, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, even you don't understand entirely how this happened, just by happen chance and luck and your own bluster and your silver tongue, somehow you manage to weasel your way all the way up to the CEO position. Just overnight, you're the CEO now. And for the next 2 years, it's fine dining, beautiful women, or beautiful men, if you whatever you're into. You're beautiful dolphins, I don't know. Hashtag not a furry. Hashtag, no, okay. And you're 6-figure, 7-figure income, fine steaks for lunch, nice suits, and you're sitting in your office, and you're like, this is fine living right here. And then one day you walk into your office with your fancy suit and you're walking up to it and there's like a note on the door that's like closed for business. And you're like, what the hell just happened? And somebody walked up to you and was like, oh yeah, we went bankrupt overnight. All the stockholders pulled out. Have a good night, everybody. I hope you have a good life. See you, man, Buggy. See you later. Like, what? What? No! No! I have to go back! Now, there might still be a few people in Buggy's entourage that still view him as Pirate Jesus. So they might still follow him, but he can't stay on Kalibali Island anymore. They can't stay there, because I like to think at least a few members of the Marines of the world government know that Buggy is not as powerful as he claims to be. And they know, and they're like, okay, Buggy. Warlord system's abolished, clown. I think you better be rents up on Kalibali Island. You better be getting out of there. By the way, do you know the literal translation of Kalibali Island? It's literally like false bravado island. Perfect for Buggy. Very fitting. So yeah, Buggy would have to be thrust back into the world. He might I could see him overnight oh shit, Marines are coming, Alvida, get the treasure, freaking Mr. 3, grab Captain John's, treasure band. Why didn't we try to find the treasure? I don't know why we didn't try to find the treasure. Everything was going good the last 2 years. I was just rolling with it. Everybody grab everything. Steal from our followers. Get everything you need. Get in the big top. We're hitting the sea. They'll be here in a few hours. Anybody that wants to come, bring them. The dream is over, guys. The dream is over. So Buggy is back to his humble roots, but now he's stuck in the new world. That's not good, man. That's not good. Man. You know what the really sad thing is? If Buggy learned hockey, he would be pretty damn powerful. If he actually buckled down and trained really, really hard, and he learned armament hockey and observation pretty well, maybe he might even have the color of the Conqueror. No, that's going a little bit too far there. But if he actually trained pretty seriously with his Devil Fruit, he'd be pretty damn powerful, But he just doesn't, because he keeps getting lucky with this shit, and he just lives on false bravado. That's what he does. Man. So, who is the last warlord that would still be in action? Keep in mind, there's not 7 warlords right now. There's only 5, right? Or only 4, actually, because Doflamingo got taken out. So we got Hancock, Mihawk, Kuma, Buggy, and then, no, so there would be 5. There's Weevil, Edward Weevil. Weevil is somebody we really don't know that much about, honestly, and we've only seen him that one time in the manga, but considering he's kind of already a dunderhead and he just basically just does everything his mama tells him to do, I don't really think that becoming a warlord was even probably his idea to begin with. It was probably his mom's. It's like, you need to become a warlord, honey. Okay, mama, I'll become a warlord. I'm Whitebeard's son, right? I'm like, yes, you are, dear. I'm like, yay. So if he's like, oh, honey, you're not a warlord anymore. Oh, that's not good. Okay. Like, I don't see Weevil getting really all choked up about that. The dude is already redonkulously strong, so, kind of in the same thing with Hancock is they can't just let him do what he wants to do because he's basically just enacting just wanton destruction, and wherever he goes, the islands just get destroyed and, obliterated by his strength. So, I could see the Marines like, okay, crap, now we have to deal with Weevil. That's not good. That guy's really strong. Shit. Out of all of the warlords, probably he would probably give them the most trouble. Because if we're just going by physical strength here, not so much technique, but with raw physical power, Weevil would probably be on the same class as Mihawk, if not higher than that. I think it's probably even safe to say he might be stronger than Mihawk in the physical strength category. Now, when it comes to using his weapon, that Bicento, he probably just goes into town. He probably doesn't have any, named attacks, or if he does, they're really simple things, but he's just like, I'm gonna wave it around really hard, and he's just this ridiculously strong musclehead. That's what he is. But he would probably pose the most threat here because it's like, all right, now we have to deal with him. So yeah, out of all of the warlords though, I'm gonna go with Kuma. Doesn't really matter. Mihawk, I mean, they could go after him, but doesn't really matter. He's not really doing anything too out there, too piratey. Hancock, they would go after her. Buggy, I mean, if the Marines and the world government know he's kind of a imposter to begin with, then they're probably not going to worry about him all too much. They might be actually more worried about the people that are under him, so I don't know. They might even grant him special status. I don't know, because he might still be useful to them, because he used to be a member of Roger's crew, and to have him around as sort of a dog of the military, that might not be a bad idea. So they might offer Buggy maybe a special position, because okay, we still need you. Or rather, we still need the people that work under you. So, yeah, you want a position in accounting? I don't know, man. And then with Weevil, they would have to deal with him as quickly as possible. They might actually send an admiral or somebody to deal with him, like Kizaru or something, because they would have to take out Weevil as quickly as possible, because he just stomps any island he arrives on. So, yeah. But anyway, what do you guys think about this? What do you think about the Warlord system being abolished? Do you think it's going to happen? What did you think happened at the 4th day of Revery? Do you think that the revolutionaries got Kuma back? What do you think about if they would be taken away? What would happen with Hancock and Buggy in particular are the ones I think are going to be the most affected by this. Do you think, how would the Marines handle Weevil? Because honestly, unless you send Garp after Weevil, that would be an epic, that would be a metal fight. Weevil versus Garp, 2 really strong brawlers. Holy shit, that's something I would pay to see. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments below. Tekking101 signing out. I'm gonna go edit this, and then I'm off to the theater!